Okay, the Sherwin-Williams Sherwood Precat Primer Surfacer is actually new to me. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, just other than what I've learned by using it in the previous video for these doors. One thing that I can tell you is that it actually lays out very nice. It wets out very easily. You get a fairly decent build. It's got a good vertical sag resistance. It chalks out very nicely and dries very quickly. All that being said, the primer seems to perform very well. The one thing that primers are not known for is mar resistance, and what I actually had here was some spots from the doors laying on the rack, leaving some marks in the primer. Now part of it was neglect of just actually dragging them out of the rack, but the other part too is just the weight of the door leaving a very fine impression. So what I was doing here was actually using the 320 grit Festool Granite paper to actually sand out these marks. Wasn't really sure if the colored Precat Lacquer would have an effect on it as far as cover them up, or if they'd be okay, so I just decided to take that piece of sandpaper with the foam backing and quick buff them out. You might have noticed I'm not wearing a respirator in this part of the video, and there's a reason as to why I'm not wearing it. This door is actually the victim of sweat buildup in a respirator. That'll happen periodically if it's really warm outside, or if I have the heat turned way up in the shop where I get really warm. I get some sweat buildup on my chin, and then what'll happen is if I don't take the time to periodically wipe inside my mask by my chin, or just wipe my chin in general, I'll actually have some sweat that'll actually start dripping onto surfaces. Now, if this would have been a finished surface, I'd been extremely upset. However, this was on a prime surface, and I was able to correct it before actually spraying it. So, what I do in a situation where it's getting ready to spray and I see it, I'll just take some naphtha on a shop rag, wipe the entire surface down, make sure it's dry, and proceed with the final top coat. If it, however, happens onto a wet film surface, the only thing you can do is let it dry, scuff it up really good, rub it down again with naphtha to degrease it to make sure there aren't any oils from your skin, and spray the second coat over it. But I got really lucky in this one. And being that this is the last few doors, I just decided to take the mask off and go without it. Otherwise, as you saw in the rest of the video, I was wearing a respirator because, as I know and everyone else knows, a respirator for your lungs for this type of application is very important. The last couple of shelves, I wanted to actually try a different technique, and it's a technique I've seen very often on YouTube videos, and I think these videos are more so outside of the United States. I don't know if there's a huge solvent difference between what's available in the United States versus outside the United States, but it seems to be that a couple of the channels I watch, one of them was actually the Woodman channel. I believe he sprays Renner coatings, and he does this technique where he actually kind of does a fog coat and actually goes over it with a wetter coat. And what I've also noticed that outside the United States, the gun distance is quite a bit farther than what we do in the US. In the US, for air-assisted airless, we're anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. Outside the United States, for air-assisted airless, anywhere from 12 to probably 18 inches. And it just seems to be that the coating is being more fogged on versus wetted out. So I just wanted to see if there was any benefit or if there any advantages or disadvantages to it, and from what I could tell, I didn't really see anything, but it was kind of fun to try. So you don't know unless you try, and like I said, from what I saw here, I didn't see any added benefit or any difference.